Label Radio.
Had to take it back a little bit. Cypress Hill, Latin lingo. You heard Stone is the way of the walk as well, too. I'm your boy, Melloe Won. This is White Label Radio, classic hip-hop from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And I told you we got a West Coast OG in the building. Julio G, what up, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yo, how does it feel when they call you OG? Do you embrace it? Or do
oh, no, I embrace it. No,
Okay.
I embrace it. You know what I mean? It's I've been around for a long time. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like when people say OG, is like it means people like me.
Yeah.
We were like the original people from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I take that with I love that. When they say Julio G, it's like, you an OG, man. I love it. You know
I love
what
it too.
But
So-
at the same time, it's like I also use that as a responsibility to always try to help out the other younger people behind me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a responsibility with it. You can't just be an OG and that's cool, you done some stuff, but who have you put on? You know,
That's
that's
a
what
big
makes
deal.
you a really OG. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So and then my list of people that I put on is you just got out of Cypress Hill.
Yes.
So I introduced Muggs to Be Real and Send Dog. We used
Yes.
to do backyard parties together. You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta put other people. You talk about the world famous beat junkies. I put them on the radio first. Nobody had put them on the radio and put them on. You know what I mean? It's like it's who you put on and who you make. Also, it's not just I was there, I did that. You know, I'm a legend. That's cool, but you know.
Do you think that's lost? Because I know people would say OG, and I embrace that too, as far as being an older cat that's helping young cats navigate the world. Because when we were younger, it wasn't that many people kind of doing what we did, so it's a little different. Do you feel like it's an obligation or a duty for you to actually help cats?
It has to be in your who you are as a person.
Oh.
It's just natural.
Yeah.
Like if you're just that kind of person. Like I've never had like I came up from a time like from breakdancing and early hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we would team up with people. You know, we work together. You know, it's like we show each other stuff. You know what I mean? It was kind of it's for some people it's natural. I never compete with people. That's my
Yeah.
thing. If I see that somebody's talented and they should be shining and they should be in a good position, my thing is like, man, I want to help that person get to that position because they should be there. Like they're like DJ Melody. The first time I seen him DJ, I said, man, if I ever get a radio show, I'm gonna find this guy. This guy needs to be on the radio. Now, mind you, I DJ.
Yeah.
I could just DJ my own
Of
show.
course, yeah.
You know what I mean, and keep the money and keep the whole fame. As hey, I'm Julio G, about to jump on the turntables tonight, but you know.
Yeah.
But I just thought DJ Melody was so amazing when I first seen him. I was like, man, if I ever get on, man, I gotta get this dude because this people need to hear this dude. This dude is dope. And that's what I mean. It's kind of natural. Some people don't do that. Some people I've seen in the music business, they don't want to put nobody on. They don't want nobody to see their equipment. They don't want nobody to see what they're doing.
They hold everything hostage. Huh?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
cool. You could do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, just like I said, it depends who you are, your personality. If your personality is like that, then you always want to help people. Because for me, it always comes back to me. It doesn't. I don't feel like if somebody became bigger than me, I feel like inferior to that person.
Yeah.
And it's not at all. I feel great. Damn, I got to put
Yeah.
I helped that happen. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. And I've always been blessed because Cypress Hill took me on tour for 10 years.
Yeah.
I made great money with them. Got to see the world. All that over an introduction that I just did out of the heart. Because, like, I mean, you ought to know these dudes. These dudes ought to know you, homie. Like, you guys should get down together.
That's
you know
dope.
what I mean? And so there was nothing behind it. I don't
That's
want nothing from it. You know what I mean? I didn't know that later on we'd be making money together and touring. And then thanks to Muggs, because Muggs allowed me to do that. And yeah, take Julio. That's for sure, man. You know what I mean? That's our guy. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
so that's why I say it's a natural thing if you feel like being that kind of person. But I will say, when you do give back, it does come back to you. When you come from the heart, just hey man, that dude's dope, man. You
Full
gotta put him
circle,
on.
right?
Yeah, it comes full circle. It does.
So let's take it all the way back to the beginning, the early Rhodium Swap Meet days. So I am a West Coast, 4th generation native of the West Coast, and I remember living on the West Side and actually going to shop. Like there was no super malls and stuff like that. We went and shopped at the swap meet. Like my Levi's, my shoes, my Crocus sacks all came
Everything.
from the Rhodium. How special was Steve and the Rhodium and what they put together out there?
Well, I mean, they had like, I guess the early street. You know, that's
Yeah.
where you kind of went to get it. That or you went to Compton swap meet. You know, it was a couple different places, but you know, Steve Yano and them, they had it earlier than everybody else. He was in the streets making the mixtapes and doing stuff like that. So it took a lot of people to Rhodium. The Rhodium became a name because of that, you know, because the music was back then was like, you heard something, you wanted to have it.
Yeah.
Today it's really simple to just get it off the internet. Oh, I heard this song I like.
Go to Spotify, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Internet,
I love it. That's beautiful.
YouTube, yeah.
But I remember when you used to drive, you know, across town.
Yeah.
Hope that record is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like it wasn't, drive all the way back home. Like, damn, I couldn't find, or I found one of it, I couldn't find the second one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
do you think that the Rhodium and Steve don't get the proper recognition for what they've done on the West Coast and in music in general?
I think they get some recognition for what they've done.
But not
I just
enough.
think like, I don't know if I would say not enough. I just think, you know, what they done was a piece of West Coast.
Yes.
It's a piece of it. It wasn't like it was dictated on Rhodium.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't dictated off the Rhodium.
Yeah.
It was like they were doing something there. They had some mixtapes that they were doing, the early Dr. Dre tapes and stuff like that. But that's a part of the West, because there was a lot more to it than just the Rhodium. You know what I mean? Like I said, at the Compton Swap Meet, when you walked in, anybody remembers the old school Compton Swap Meet? Right when you walked in, when you came from the back, there was the record store right to the right from the first door.
Yeah.
There was these Asians that owned it, and they had everything. Like whatever you asked them, they'd pop it up. They always had like, oh, we got it. Oh, right here, look.
And they put it from the bottom. It wouldn't even be on display.
It wouldn't be on display.
It wouldn't be on display.
You had to ask them.
You had to ask for it, so you had to be in the know. Same thing Inglewood. Inglewood had the same in the middle.
Right.
They had the people, when you had to go in and ask for it, and they would pull
They'll
out
pull it out.
pull it in a box, and they're like, oh, I got it right here, whatever.
You got. I remember I went to buy Kill at Will there. I was like, damn, you got Kill at Will there? Yes, I got it right here. Boom. And I'm like, I gotta have that. You know what I mean? And that was like right when it came out. So that's what I mean. It's like, not to take, I'm not saying taking nothing away from Rhodium, but I'm just saying they deserve their credit, of course. But it was a lot of different components at that time too that were kind of in play. And that was one part of it, was the Rhodium and those mixtapes that kind of got it, people going into like the street. I want to say the street, LA street stuff came through there, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And it's funny, we have a unique connection, because I don't know if you remember the first time I met you.
I don't remember, no.
So you built a car that was on 26s.
Oh, yeah.
And Orange County Customs, my shop, that was my.
Oh, that truck, the red Tahoe.
No. It was a Caprice or something.
Oh, a lowrider? Oh, no, I had another car.
It was a Caprice on 26s. And I remember I had my Cutlass on 24s, and your guy, I think his name was Papito or something like that.
Yeah.
Brought your Cutlass over there, and then I remember meeting you. It was a dinner, like what's the steakhouse by Power 106?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Not the Ruths. Is it Ruth?
It was right next to Power 106. I think Morton's.
Morton's.
And it was a Power 106 dinner with Lazy Bone or whatever. And I mentioned his car. And I was like, oh shit, that's my car or whatever. We met there, and then of course, full circle, my wife, it was at K-Day at the time. So at the time
we met again.
We met again or whatever. So we got a little brief history or whatever.
Sure.
But let's do this. I want to play a joint that you produced.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about it, and then we'll get to the early days of the Muggs and Cypress Hill connection or whatever. Sure. People know your story, but they don't hear your story a lot, and I want you to tell them why, because I watched the Tony A interview, and it sucks because it was sad to hear that you would do these interviews and it ended up on the cutting room floor because it's kind of whack. But we'll get into that. But let's get into a joint right now. Kid Frost, Homicide. White Label Radio. Julio G's in the building. Yo, the OG Kid Frost, Homicide, right here on White Label Radio. We got the OG Julio G in the building. I said he produced that, and he said,
I don't know, maybe I did. I told him I'd be forgetting what I'd done. I'd be forgetting, man. Sometimes I got to look back on credits and be like, damn, I did do that record. I don't know. It's so long ago, and I think we just were recording so much music with so many different people. One day we're working with Frost, next day we're working with ALT, the next day we're working with the Brown Side, the next day was Eazy-E, next day Cool G Rap would come through, the next day would be Cam, that's how we did Whoop Whoop. You know what I mean? Whoop Whoop came from Cam coming to the studio with us in Almani. And
you produced that?
Tony G did.
Tony G. Okay.
I kind of co-produced on it, but really that's Tony's record.
Okay.
He did like 90% of it. But that happened through Cam coming to the studio. That's why in the beginning of that song he says, and that's the only song that DJ Pooh did not produce on that album, which is his album.
I thought he did that.
The whole album.
I thought the whole album. Yeah.
Well, he heard that at the end, and he was like, "I need that song," like because we just did it. The way that record came around, that record Whoop Whoop from Cam, was because we were working on like 5 songs with Cam. Mm-hmm. So all the other 4 songs were no samples.
Yeah.
They were all just played music that we created. and then the last one, he was like, he wanted to do one more song, and he's like, but I want to do something with a sample. And that's how kind of the whole thing came about. I was like, let's look through some records. And then I think I grabbed maybe Tony grabbed it, whatever, the Malcolm McLaren. Boom, let's do that.
Yeah.
And boom, it went from there. And that's why in the beginning of the song, he goes, the homie Cam back on the scene with the black and brown on the same team. That's talking about the studio session. That's what us, because we were talking some deep stuff in the studio session before the song. Yeah, we were like, me and Cam would always have these deep conversations every time we came to the studio about the Nation of Islam, about the black and brown, and how could we work together. That's how I was introduced to the Nation of Islam, was through Cam, because I did a lot of work with them in the 90s at 92.3 The Beat. I would go to the jails with them. I would go to the streets with them and do stuff with the community. And I actually have a really good relationship with the Nation of Islam to this day. All the brothers too. It's like, and shout out to the whole nation, because anywhere I go and if I say my name, what's up, brother? How you doing? I'm Julio G. Julio G, what's up, man? Like, so it's not even like I know them all personally, but somehow the word got out amongst them that I was down. Family with them. You know what I mean? So, and so we did a lot of great work together. I really had a good time with them, and we used to go to the jails and do stuff with the kids and stuff like that. But that came through Cam. Cam kind of made that introduction to us. So that's why I said we used to sit there and talk about stuff, and then we go make a song. You know what I mean? That's dope. Cam is very, very, very he's a very cool person to talk to. You know, he has just a different way of thinking.
Why don't you think Cam was bigger than what he is as far as
because
artist?
he couldn't get bigger. There's just what he's talking about is for a certain amount of people.
Okay.
That's only going to touch and get certain people. It just, you can't, a guy like Cam, he would have to jeopardize who he is to get a bigger audience.
Commercialize or sell out a little bit or whatever.
He would have to tone it down.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what he does is that he, when you really listen to his lyrics, he's a very creative writer. Besides the knowledge, if you really listen to his wordplay and the way he rhymes words, he's very, very creative, very, very good rapper actually.
Yeah.
But they don't look at him as a great rapper. They look at him as Cam, you know, the righteous brother,
of course,
talking the knowledge and all, right? But if you really listen to him rap, he's really good. You know what I mean? So
why do you think that a person like Cam couldn't get bigger than what he was, but like a group like, say, a brand Nubians was able to get larger and they was talking the same righteousness?
I tell you, I think because they're from the East Coast, and on the East Coast they're more open to the gods and the 5% and the nation. They're way more open, and then you have more on the East Coast black brothers that go to jail and became Islam.
So they have more people behind them pushing them on that.
You don't have that heavy Islam black people out here. You have the Nation of Islam, but you ain't going to jail. Like my homies that go to jail, they don't come back being from the Nation of Islam. But if you go to the East Coast, 9 times out of 10 when they go to jail, they coming back Islam. You know what I mean? That's just, even in Philly, you see a lot of brothers in Philly, because when I go to Philly, you see they all got the beards and right, because that's part of their culture over there. It's a little bit different. If Cam would have been from New York, he would have been fire, bro. You know what I mean? Because of that reason, he would have had way more push. But in LA, in LA, you didn't really hear like a gangster rapper doing the Nation of Islam and talking some real black peace treaty and you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you seen Ice Cube do it, but that came from Cam. You know what I mean? Is there still a East Coast bias in hip hop? Ooh, I don't even know if East Coast can have a bias anymore. They're not in control anymore.
But in the past,
it was. Oh, of course it was. Okay. Oh yeah, it was a big time. They hated West Coast hip hop.
Like hated
it, but they didn't respect the rap part of it.
Did you have a first-hand experience in that? As far as can you give me a situation that you've seen that had happened?
Well, I would say like in a sense of, sometimes I would play some music on the radio and people would call up, man, that motherfucker whack. You know, I played MC8 one day. Somebody called, man, why you play him, man? He whack.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I remember
and I'd be like, nah, he's not crazy. Whack. He's not whack. It's just that he's not rapping for what you're asking. He's not talking in your language.
Yeah.
Right? He's not on the riggedy rap skill trying to get you with the phenomenal intricate styles of the word pattern. He's not doing that. He's telling you a story.
Straight to the point,
right? And it's coded in G talk.
Yeah.
And so that's not maybe. He's another example. MC8. He could never be a Snoop. He's not gonna jeopardize himself like that. What he does is for a specific crew of people that love it.
Yes.
And the other ones outside that catch on to it, it become fans. Yeah, cool. You can get along if you want to. But he's one of them people that's authentic to his music.
100%.
And I think MC8 is very, very, very underrated. Like his
Super
style.
underrated.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
it just his
Lyrically,
style was
his
so
style, yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
And just it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like a riggedy rap, all the kind of lyrics. It was just very chill. Slow, but when you listen to what he's talking about,
Yeah.
he's giving you a real perspective of Compton, and it's almost like a peek into like that mindset of a guy like him.
Yeah.
And that's Compton. You know what I mean? So
you remember the song he did with on Muggs' Solo
Heavyweights.
Session?
I used to
That's
play
one
that
of
all the
my
time.
favorite songs, and I'm
Yeah.
like, if he did this right here on that beat right there, he would have
Right.
be
Right.
you know,
Right.
the guru or
Absolutely.
something like that on that
Absolutely.
right there.
Absolutely.
And I've had him on the show a couple of times. I told him, I said, dude, why you didn't do more of that?
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean,
things
and then,
happen.
so when you look back on that, you have to think to yourself, Muggs don't do features.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to his albums, he's not a feature guy. He does here and there, and that happened after the second album, right? But who was on that? Who did he work with and put on Cypress Hill 4 was MC8.
Yeah.
And that's why it was always a really cool thing to watch that, because Muggs, you would have never thought would be a fan of MC8 like that. But he's worked with him numerous times and banged out some bangers with him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to see that combination, because when 8 gets on when 8 gets with Muggs, it's just something about Muggs' dirty sound with what 8's talking. He doesn't change nothing about what he's rapping about. It just sounds like that Heavyweights is so dope, man.
It's one of the illest songs. Yeah.
I'd like to see a Muggs MC8 like record, like even if it was 10 songs, just to hear.
Yeah, like even an EP,
even an EP, man.
it's
Just
something.
because 8 and him have done some good stuff together, so that'd be a nice change, you know what I mean, for MC8. So
Well, hopefully we talked it into existence, whatever. We'll put it out there in the open, because Muggs is still busy, getting busy. 8's still getting busy,
for sure.
The world's gonna collide soon. Hopefully it will.
For sure.
Let's take it back. Mixmasters, K-Day. Back in the day, you were 17 years old.
17 when I got into 1580 KD, yeah.
1580.
As a mixmaster.
Were you the youngest mixmaster?
Yeah. At that time I was, yeah. I was. After me came Aladdin, he would have been the next youngest at that time.
Okay.
But at that time when it was Jammin' Gemini, Tony G, Joe Cooley, M-Walk, and then I became the fifth. Became Julio G. So I was the youngest one, and M-Walk was the second youngest.
How did it feel? Because at that time, Mixmaster was kind of like a rite of passage. It was kind of like, you know.
It was it.
It was it. How'd you feel?
It was amazing. It was amazing because I had been in high school like looking up to these guys. I used to be like a groupie fan of Joe Cooley and M-Walk and Tony G and Jammin' Gemini too. I used to love the way he mixed, and so I was and M-Walk. I love the way he scratched. So it's like everybody had something that I liked about him. And then I remember in high school hearing about the tryouts, but I didn't have it. Like I wasn't confident enough for that.
Yeah.
And then I heard, they just got Joe Cooley, they got M-Walk. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like, because I had been listening to them and following them around, you know. So they made it, and then later on, Tony G is the one that got me in, and Greg Mack also, of course, because it was his group, you know what I mean. But Tony kind of found me and kind of groomed me, and then got me into the Mixmaster. But yeah, that was a big deal for me, because to this day is a big deal. That's why I'm Julio G 1580 on my Instagram. Yeah, because I always pay respect to 1580 K-Day, because that was the beginning when we were doing it for fun and for like respect. We weren't doing it had nothing to do with money, like at that time at all. We didn't get paid from 1580 K-Day. We didn't make money from
Wait,
them.
so when you guys did that, there was no compensation for the DJs? Nothing?
No.
Really?
When we went to do a dance, Greg Mack would, give us some money, you know what I mean? He'd give us a couple $100 or $100 or whatever.
But the on radio mixes was nothing.
I never got a check from 1580 K. I don't even know what a 1580 K-Day check looked like. So they never paid us, and that's why we broke up. That's actually what happened, is that we had got that popular, and the ratings were through the roof, and they were making money, and we were like, wait a minute, like we're bringing all this to you guys, like
where's ours at?
You gotta pay us, man. And then but at this time, we had picked up some more mix masters we had picked up because everybody started doing stuff. Joe Cooley started doing Rodney O. M-Walk was working with the Union. Tony G was working on the Mix Masters album. And then Jim and I and myself were kind of like doing a lot of the mixing because everybody else was just, we couldn't get them to come through and mix. And so we had to get some more mix masters. So then we did another tryout. Then came Ralph M., Battle Cat, Aladdin, Tracy, and Romeo. I think it was those 5, and it was cool, but it was just like, all right, we got more mix masters now, but now we wanted to get paid. So it was like they hadn't even really been there. They probably had been there maybe like 6 months, 8 months. You know what I mean? And then we had a meeting one day and was like, look, we got to get paid. And then they tried to pay us like $2,000 for all of us to split. And
wait, for all 6, 7,
all 10 of us now. Because
Jesus.
now we became 10, right? So it's
Jesus.
like we were like, nah, bro, we can't do that. And then Tony G was the first one to say, nah, I'm cool, I'm out. You know what I mean? And I came with him, so I'm like, well, I'm out. And then everybody else was out with us. So we all ended up in the parking lot together, and we just gave each other a dap and said good luck to each other, and we all went off on our own ways. And we all went to do shit, though. We all, Battle Cat became Battle Cat, Joe Cooley continued, Tony G, Julio G continued, M-Walk continued with Tone Loc. We all, Ralph M went to Funk Dubious. We all, we all kind of got out of that situation and continued to do, hip hop, what I mean? But that's kind of what happened with that. It was just like we couldn't get, because people always ask me, what happened to 1580K there? Well, and then after that, they had to sell the station because it all went downhill from there because they couldn't get, they didn't realize how important we were to the game. They didn't understand hip hop.
They took the hip hop for granted. They took it granted.
They're like, how the hell are you getting these ratings?
But at the time, what was this, 89?
No, 90? We left, we probably got out of there 89.
Yeah, so hip hop is still a baby. It wasn't a $1 billion industry you see now. No. So
but for them, it was big because JJ Fad was big, Salt and Pepper was big, Heavy D was big, LL Cool J was big, Run DMC was big, Rodney and Joe Cooley were big, Egyptian Lover was big. It was like King T was big. I mean, Toddy T was big. Yeah. It was even Wrecking Crew was big. LA Dream Team. We had some music. It was a lot of music going on in that station at that time. When you really think back on all those artists, you really like, damn, that was some dope ass hip hop going on at that time.
I was a kid at that time, and I remember going to school, middle school, even early high school or whatever, and K-Day was it was all you lived. You had to find it right on the dial, you know what I'm saying, and right, that sweet spot or whatever, and you listened to it. It was y'all broke music.
Yeah, broke music. We inspired this whole generation of hip hop that you have today. Like a lot of people give New York the credit and say it started in New York, but a lot of the radio stuff you hear today is created in LA. Yeah. When you hear DJing and mixing and all the way we were doing stuff, it's like everybody's emulated that. You know what I mean? And emulated a lot of our scratch styles. It's been, LA has a lot to do with what we did with it.
Do you feel like that story is not told enough?
It's not, because one thing about LA that I've realized is that, and I got frustrated at one point, but I don't really trip off it today, is that they don't really give respect to the old school or respect to the elders. Yeah. They don't respect it because they didn't live it. They didn't have to go through the dance. Like when we had to go to do dances, we went to violent places, dog. Yeah. Like it was like we had to bring guns and just to DJ for you guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to bring the hip hop. And it wasn't in Hollywood. It was on Central and something. Yeah. Or it was on Main and something.
It was in the hood.
It was in the hood, dog. So it's like every time you went, it was part DJing, part watch your back. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So luckily nothing happened to us, and we were lucky to get through them times. But they were dangerous, very dangerous times. You know what I mean? So we've done a lot for hip hop when people didn't. It wasn't in Hollywood. It wasn't trendy. It wasn't like, it was hood. It was super hood. You know what I mean? So. I don't think people really respect that, and then they just don't have, like when I go to New York, I get a lot of respect in New York. It's crazy to me. Like they give me like respect, like if I was like from there, like I'm like, damn man, we know you, man. Oh man, you like the Funk Master Flex of over there. And that's which is an honor when people say that. You know what I mean? Yeah, when they say this like the Funk Master Flex of LA. I take that with a lot of, I respect that because I love Funk Master Flex and I like what he's done. So I'm like, damn, I'm in a category of that guy's level. Oh, I thank you. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? So, but in LA, it's just like they almost want you to leave. They almost want you out. They don't want you to be the dude.
Like you're in the way.
You're in the way,
unless you're Dr. Dre Snoop Dogg, which you're now worldwide.
You're past them.
Yeah,
so you don't
right
need
past
them. Yeah, they need you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like you don't need Dr. Dre and Snoop don't need Power 106, dog.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they're not made by them either. So
Yeah.
it's like they had the streets before Power 106 ever played a rap song. So and you know, NWA was already in the 80s. We already did that at 1580
Yeah.
Power 106 and all them came later. They used to be dance stations. They weren't
Oh,
hip hop
yeah.
stations.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they graduated into watching what we did.
So do you think the story is not being told because the current radio people are not carrying the torch, telling the story?
They're not. And then they don't.
And
they
that's the
don't,
problem?
They don't. I mean, have you ever seen a like, think about it. Have you ever seen a radio day in LA where they go, hey, let's bring back all the old school radio DJs and just do like an April Fool's Day where they all get on and kill it?
I was thinking that. No.
Right, why don't they do that?
I don't know.
Why don't they say, hey, let's have a day where we go do the OGs. Let's invite King T. Let's invite this. You don't even have to invite me. Why don't they do that? They don't care because they don't care, bro. That's why. But if it's New York, oh man, we got the new Biggie Day coming. Big Pun is coming, and we're gonna have 8 hours of Big Pun. And so it's like, okay, dude, and so, or the one they gave you is we'll do Tupac. Yeah, but what about Eazy?
Yeah.
Where's Eazy's day? Where's Eazy's 24 hours of Ruthless Records? Where's when do they do that? They don't do it. If I don't do it, because I don't have to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
But they don't do it. And that lets you know why. Because they're not worried about you. They don't respect what we've done.
Is it because the people that's in charge are not from here?
They're not from here.
And I think for me, as a fan and being from here, there's a lot of people in positions to represent us that are not from here. They couldn't tell you where Linwood is. They couldn't tell you where Maywood is. They couldn't tell you any of that. They live in Burbank. They live in the Valley or whatever. So
they don't know.
I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's one of them. And then the people that are from here, like I said, they don't want you in the way. They want to be the
stars. Yeah,
they want to be the star. Bro.
Yeah,
and that always was a problem with me with radio stations, because I would go and then it's like I won't go and work on the radio unless I can program half that show.
Yeah.
Right now, you can call me right now, Power 106 or 92.3 The Beat, can call me and say, hey, man, we'll give you 5 days a week and we'll give you this check. But as long as we program it, all you got to do is talk and read the little liner, give the giveaway out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that money. I don't need
why,
it
Why
like
would
that.
you do that?
Because the way I created who I am, it had nothing to do with that. I created who I am, and why people respect what I done was because I had my hands in it, because they don't know. So I cannot allow people from the outside that have nothing to do with hip hop or understanding of where I come from in the 80s and how we created this. And it's like you created this kind of food, and then I come tell you, hey, bro, let me tell you how to make that food.
It's like my food. It's my
dish.
dish.
Like, wait a minute, dog. I created this food.
Yeah.
I know you think you know what you're talking about, but let me explain.
I have a better way to.
I know how to do this better. You don't need that salt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it becomes. And it's like, hey, dude, why don't you sit down and shut up and let me explain to you how the streets work.
Yeah.
If you want listeners to listen for a long amount of time, you're going to have to adapt to what they're listening to. And who they are. So that's why West Side Radio was so easy, because it's like, all y'all should have done West Side Radio. That's simple. It's your backyard, dummy.
Yeah.
So it's simple for me to just do the West Side Radio, and everybody's like, damn, what a genius. No, not really. Not really. I just play the music you're supposed to be playing.
Yeah, because I'm from here. I know they want.
Because I'm from here. And that's why I understand that to you, that might not be a big record, but in this community, it is, because this is their homie. And that's who they love, and they want to back him. And so when you play this little dude, they all gonna ride and listen to him, man. They gonna tell their friends on Instagram, oh, they playing you on the radio.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
If you playing somebody from New Jersey, they don't be out here telling people, hey, they playing you from New Jersey.
No.
They're not. So that's why it's not that I didn't like West Side Radio. I didn't think that out, but like I said, anybody could have done that.
Yeah.
But it's just that they don't, because they're not about that. They don't care about the West Coast music like that. If they did, they would have done it. Because a lot of those DJs, they're not from the hood like that. So they don't, like I said, they'd rather hear Gangstar rap than listen to MC8, because to them, MC8 is not dope compared to Gangstar, because they're living that life of comparing it to New York, and it has nothing to do with New York. We didn't want to sound like New York.
Yeah.
That's why LA hip hop sounds like LA hip hop, because it's supposed to be us conversing to each other through our slang and our style of music. It's not supposed to be primo bounce. Like, it's not supposed to be.
It's a different style.
And if it is, it's dilated, or it's those people, and you know what they do, and they do it dope from LA. That version from LA that they do of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's why I say I don't think they just give the respect to to the West Coast like they should, and to and I don't even care if you talk about me. You could talk about Uncle Jam's Army. Go talk about
It's the
Roger
coast,
Clayton. Go
yeah.
talk about Egyptian
Yeah.
Lover. Go talk about LA Dream Team. Go talk about King T, Mixmaster Spade. Go talk about Toddy
Toddy T, yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? Go talk about Greg
Yeah.
Mack. Go talk
Yeah.
about 1580 K-Day. Talk about the Mixmasters, Joe Cooley, Amwalk. You know what I mean? Tony G, Jammin' Gemini. You know what I mean? Battle Cat, Aladdin. There's a lot of stuff that you don't. Bobcat, another person instrumental in
That
LA
don't get a lot.
That don't get.
Yeah.
That don't get
Yeah.
Lonzo. It's a lot. It's a lot. Little by little with shows like this, people start getting a little more hip to what's going on. You know
Exactly. Let's get into some of the music and then we'll get back. We haven't talked about the Muggs Cypress Hill connection and how you
Yeah.
did that. So let's get into that. So let's get into a joint that you produced. Let's see if you remember this
See if
song.
you remember this one.
Let's see. This is Kid Frost, La Familia.
Oh yeah, I love this record.
White Label
man.
Radio. Let's get into it, man.